Well, we talked about it right before those pit stops. No mistakes. That may be the last pit stop, and that really puts him in a hole as we restart the race here, lap 288.
Boy, Newman, he really is a rocket man on restarts. Every single one. He's gotten out ahead of Kevin Harvick, who has been giving it the good try to get back on the lead lap.
But I tell you, Dale Earnhardt Jr., look at the run he gets right there. Darrell, I think that's 2 tires versus 4 tires. We'll see what happens down in turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, I believe that. I guess honestly believe they'll be regretting that decision. I just don't think that was the way to go.
Look how loose he got him right there. I mean, he ran right up to him, and now we got a battle for the lead in this crowd. Nobody's sitting down.
Go outside. Go there. Go
Newman's
there.
not giving in.
Go outside. Go there.
Now.
Clear. Clear.
And here comes Gordon. Up underneath Harvick to clear the lapped car.
Look at Jerry Nadeau in that Army car, the 01 car. He's battling Gordon for second, battling for third right now. Takes it away.
What a great move by Nadeau, but he can't hold the bottom. Gordon's going to have a look under him coming off 4. And Nadeau holds on with 3rd position.
Jeff let him slide in there. That's the old slide job.
Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car goes underneath Kevin Harvick. Remember, Jimmy Johnson started this race at the rear of the field with that motor change. He's up there in 5th spot.
I know Harvick's a lap down, but boy, he sure has been mighty courteous to these guys. He has not tried to hold anybody up. He just slid up then and let the 48 car go right by.
Right behind Harvick, his Childress teammate, Robbie Gordon. They are both 1 lap down, as is Michael Waltrip, Terry Labonte, Ricky Craven, John Andretti, Jeff Burton, Jack Sprague, Kenny Wallace, and Kenny Schrader.
Yeah, we're looking at Jeff Green right there in the 30 car. He's up there in the 6th position, and you heard Steve Burns talking earlier. These guys need a good finish because all 6 races finished 19th or worse. There goes Jeff Gordon back under Nadeau. It's almost did the same thing. The car moved up, but it looked like Nadeau could not keep his car down, Darrell.
I think Nadeau knew that he put a slide job on Jeffy, and he wasn't going to mess. He said, I owe you one, buddy.
Darrell, Larry, I was watching right there from the camera shot, and I could see Jerry Nadeau actually wave Jeff Gordon back by as they came down that back straightaway. He was waving him by. There you go, right there. It seems waving him by. As you said earlier, I think he knew I need to let this guy go before I get myself in trouble.
Exactly.
And Gordon has jumped out ahead of Nadeau. So.
Yeah, because if they'd have sat there and raced each other, Jeff Gordon's teammate, the 48 car, was going to catch him, plus Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was going to get away from him.
Remember, Smoker in 1, Tony Stewart. The Winston Cup champ goes to the apron. Smoke trailing from his Joe Gibbs Chevy.
You got to remember something, too, about the Hendrick. That's Hendrick engines in that 01 car. Jeff Gordon may have just called the spotter and said, hey, how about some help?
Not a teammate, but an affiliate, you might say.
An affiliate, well put.
There you see a lot of smoke out of Tony Stewart in that 20 car. We're getting down to those last 50 miles of this race. There you see him, about 70 miles per hour. This is when those engine problems start to show up from those RPMs.
That last 100 miles at a joint like this, it will suck the guts out of him.
Bobby Labonte's car back on track, but has been black flagged. The pole sitter was 190 some miles an hour here on Friday, but he's been black flagged for being too slow.
And Darrell, I'm not surprised. When I saw him on pit road fixing to head out on the racetrack with no front end on that car, they have a minimum speed that you have to keep here and maintain. Not surprised he couldn't do that with no front end on that car.
And that's a good rule.
It really is.
You don't want someone out there being so slow that they're in the way of everybody.
Yeah, but the reason that you do that, and we've said it before, is you don't want your crew to ever get in the idea that you're going to load up and go home. We're going to fix it. We're going to get it back on the racetrack. That's how you win championships.
I hate DNFs.
That's right.
I want to be running at the end of every race. Now, last week that car would have been fine at Bristol, but not here at 190 miles per hour.
Plus, you learn things. You know, what do we need to be prepared next time when something like this happens?
You need to run a 32.86. That's about 4 seconds slower than the leader is running right now.
They take a percentage of the final happy hour practice speed, the fastest practice speed, and go from there.
And that leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., with 0.6 of a second on Ryan Newman. There's the gap. And Jeff Gordon trying to close from 1.8 seconds back.
I like Jeff Gordon because we've seen time and time again over the long haul. No more cautions. He may be able to chase Dale Jr. down.
Yeah, he definitely would not like to see a caution flag in these last 30 laps or so.
He seems to be a little slow on the restarts, but the longer they go, the better he gets.
Joe Nemechek, after pounding the wall in turn 3, is okay. Dick Berggren's with him.
Yeah, he's just hobbled out of the care center. What happened, Joe?
I'm not sure. I think we must have cut a right front tire down or something happened in the right front. Going into 3 at the worst possible spot, you let off the gas and that thing just went straight and tried to turn, and it didn't want to turn, and you're just hanging on. It took a terrible lick, but thank God for all the safety restraints, all the things NASCAR makes us do to make them safe. I'm ready to go.
Such a tough sport. Yesterday, this guy was the winner. Today, he crashes out, Mike.
And Nemechek will finish 34th today. Perhaps 35th, as Jimmy Spencer's wounded car continues to make laps. 35 laps to go in Texas. Ryan Newman trying to close back on leader Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, the last lap, he was about a 10th and a half quicker than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Now, I believe the 2 tires, after you run a while, and the right sides build up pressure to match up to your left sides, you could come back and maybe make a run at him. The question is, how worn are the left sides? Boy, I've been watching back here. Rusty Wallace got something wrong with his car.
I thought I saw a little smoke from his car about 5 laps ago as he went off to turn 1. We'll keep an eye on that. But Jeff Gordon in 3rd place, 2.2 seconds back.
There was Rusty, and he's been real high on the Speedway.
Let's go to Matt in the pit of the 3rd place car.
Well, Darrell, remember back to the first third of the race when Jeff Gordon on sticker tires very fast, but it takes him a little while to get there. That's what they put on the last stop, sticker tires. But before that last caution, he came on the radio, keyed the mic and said, I don't know if it was the adjustments or clean air, but this baby is really getting it. I just need to get up to him, and then I'll have him. Gordon, usually conservative on the radio, sounded very confident. Then after a 13.1 second stop, he said, you guys put me where I need to be. Now let me do the rest.
And of course, sticker tires means new tires, where a lot of teams had scuffed their tires for the race, which means they put a couple of laps on new tires.
Now, Rusty Wallace has dropped to the tail end of the lead lap. Steve, what's wrong?
Mike, we've been listening to the radio communication. Haven't heard him mention anything specifically, but remember, they were one of the teams that took just 2 tires on that last stop.
Yeah, Steve, just can't keep the car down. It's way, way up out of the groove in both ends of the racetrack.
Now, Darrell, the difference in Rusty and Ryan's 2 tires, one thing is Ryan was up the front of the pack in clean air, didn't have to maneuver his car. Rusty was back in the pack, had to maneuver lap traffic as well as other lead lap cars.
Chevy, Dodge, Chevy, Pontiac, the front 4, then 2 Chevys. The first Ford is Mark Martin in 7th, followed by Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, and Jamie McMurray. Your top 10, Martin with a run on Jeff Green, moves up to 6th.
And I just believe he's another car like Jeff Gordon. He wants this long run. He don't want any cautions because it takes a while for his car to get going.
But I think he's way, way too far back to really do a challenge for the lead.
He's about 9.6 seconds off the lead. And Darrell, I think in about 12 laps, we're going to have Jeff Gordon right on the leaders.
Yeah, because the 8 car, Earnhardt and the Newman are getting ready to get into a race with each other. When they do, I think Jeff's going to be right there and take them both.
Yeah, you use the word leaders properly because we're going to have 2 leaders up there real shortly.
He's closing down in a hurry. I mean, he wasn't just woofing when he said, y'all did a good job, I'll do the rest.
Yeah, last time Ryan Newman was 0.2 of a second quicker than Dale Earnhardt, but then Jeff Gordon was almost 0.2 quicker than those guys. I tell you, the quickest car that last lap was Jerry Nadeau and Jimmy Johnson back there in 4th and 5th, the 01 and the 48.
Johnny Benson has dropped back a bit and might be smoking just a touch.
There you see the Fox tracks, the interval for Jeff Gordon up to the leader, about 1.3 seconds.
Matt?
Mike, possible motor problem on the 10 car. He had to switch ignition boxes, lost several spots. That's the last we've heard on the radio communication.
Benson has fallen to 13th. There's that dark shade in turn 1 that Darrell talked about as the sun goes low in the Texas sky. That's what we get here, is shade over all but turn 3 of the racetrack eventually. Newman has a run on Dale Jr., who holds the bottom of the racetrack to keep Newman at bay for the lead, and Jeff Gordon closes in.
If Dale Jr. can keep his car on the bottom of the racetrack, it's going to be mighty difficult for Ryan Newman to work under him, and that's the only way you're going to get by him.
You know, I was watching Jeff Gordon in the 24 car the last time through 1 and 2. He was starting to work his car about a half a lane up.
He's anticipating he may have to try somewhere besides the bottom. And he's got 4 tires, got a pretty good car. He might want to sail that thing off on the outside and see what happens when he gets there. Because those boys are not going to give up the bottom. You know that.
I think when he gets there is going to be in 2 laps or less.
Oh, man, Jeff Gordon has always been, the classic Jeff Gordon is when he can see the lead, buddy, look out, because I'm a-coming.
Gordon is coming, and he's all but there. It's down to less than a second. "25 laps to go."
And you know, Darrell, Ryan Newman, if he gets to the rear bumper of Dale Earnhardt Jr., we've seen those Chevrolets get pretty loose with somebody tucked up behind them, and I'm just wondering if Ryan Newman is aware of that.
I think he may or may not be. I'm not sure about that, but I think the biggest difference is just in the tires themselves. So I think it's going to be hard for him to maneuver his car around the 8 car.
See the speeds at the line right there. Mark Martin the quickest. Jimmy Johnson in 5th, so the 6th and 5th place car, Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin, 2 quickest at the line that time.
Matt Yoakum on the leader.
Mike Dale Jr., usually very conversational on the radio, has been quiet over the past 20 laps. The only thing Jr. has mentioned, he wanted to be counted down as far as how many laps remain. Also, he said the car is starting to get tight.
Elliott Sadler, whose car is already headed home in the truck after crashing, will get the 5 points for leading the most laps today after starting outside pole. But this looks like it's going to come down to a good old-fashioned Texas gunfight among these 3. 22 laps to go this time by.
And they're starting to catch some lap traffic as they run up on Brett Bodine in 11 car, and in about another half a straightaway, there's several other cars a lap down or more.
Yeah, and they're catching Brett in the absolutely worst place. Well, he did move up, and that's a good thing. Jeff's going to be able to clear him off a 2 over there. Not going to hurt his momentum too much.
Jerry Nadeau in 4th and Jimmy Johnson 5th going by.
Still a great day for Nadeau. I mean, he's really driven a great race, and his car's still running very, very well. Sitting there in 4th place.
He's about 3.3 seconds back of the leaders.
And I tell you, here in the late stages of the race, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, he's backing up that practice yesterday. He has by far had the fastest car lap after lap.
Well, I congratulate one of Jerry Nadeau's fellow New Englanders, former broadcast colleague Ken Squire. The state of Vermont honoring Ken this weekend at a dinner celebrating Green Up Day in Vermont. It's a statewide spring cleanup on the first Saturday in May, and Ken's been instrumental in promoting that. Joins several former governors as recipient of that award.
Yeah, Ken, he's a great guy. Great guy, and I don't think any of us would be here if it wasn't for him, because he set the standard for us.
Heard him tell the spotters, the crew chiefs, telling them 20 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he wants to be counted down. I'm sure he's listening for that magical 1 to go.
What he'd like to hear is you're pulling away, but he's not hearing that.
Jeff Gordon draws ever closer to the lead.
And we've seen, all day long, though, Larry, you can get there, but as we say time and time again, making that pass, not going to be all that easy.
And we're seeing that now, even as Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, gets close to these guys, because now all 3 cars, the top 3 cars, are running identical lap speeds. He ran them down in a hurry. Now he's hit that brick wall. Now we see the battle with Jerry Nadeau in 01, no longer a battle. Jimmy Johnson in the 48, that was a battle for 4th.
These 3 guys get up here racing. You kind of wish we had maybe 10 or 12 more laps, because I believe the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, could get up there and be a factor.
Might be a little bit of smoke there from Benson's fading Pontiac.
You can see the smoke right there. Looking at the stopwatch, he's about a second a lap off, so there's definitely something going on with that Johnny Benson 10 car.
Trying to hold on to a top 15 finish here.
He is the last car on the lead lap.
Yep, here come the leaders.
The smoke's getting worse and worse out of that car.
Usually the thing what happens is you break a valve spring, drop a valve, and it sits in there and bangs all around, and it'll run for a while, but it'll finally just take its toll and blow the thing up.
Johnny Benson trying to hang on for 17 more laps here. As the vice tightens, the 3 cars in the battle for the lead, now not seconds, just car lengths apart.
funny, though, how quickly Jeff was able to chase down to this point. Hadn't really made a lot of progress the last few laps, Larry.
No, I mean, again, these guys are running almost identical lap times. In fact, Ryan Newman was quite a bit quicker that particular lap. He pulled in about a car length of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser car.
Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin are the quickest cars on the racetrack right now, along with Ryan Newman.
To go. 15.